Oh my lord, another video. This time, let me fix my color because that one here, that one there go. No, water shortage in Jamaica. I can't believe in 2024 successive governments have still unable to solve the water crisis in Jamaica, and it is a water crisis. There's no going around that at all. I think successive governments, both the JLP and PNP, have failed miserably to provide adequate, drinking water, piped water to their citizens and residents. I just think the emphasis and priority seems to be based on businesses, corporations, and so on. Now, there's a place in Spanish Town, if I remember correctly, called Villanova. Now, I remember when I've been there when I was a kid. I used to see canals that sort of distribute and transport water to the cane fields. They're like basically irrigation systems. And I always thought to myself, how come we don't have a similar system that can transport water to areas that needs it from the river, that can then be, in some type of reservoir, that can supply constant water to citizens? Because these canals are like running water. So basically, I'm not sure where the source of the water is, but it has to be rivers. So basically, these canals are getting their water from these rivers and distributing it to these cane fields. Now, I remember as a kid, as I say, I used to actually go in these canals as well. And we used to catch fish in there, because it's freshwater. We used to get freshwater fish. Freshwater fish, which is like perch, janga. Is it janga? Can't remember the name. Tiki, janga, crayfish as them call it, which is basically freshwater shrimps, or shrimp. And it was a joy for me to do stuff like that. Whether that still exists now, I don't know. Those canals are being clogged up, but the water used to be clear. You could literally see the bottom of the canal. The water was crystal clear. So that was that. So how can you have situations like that, but the citizens of Jamaica have no water to drink at all? Like literally, every day on a regular, water will go off at a certain time and come back on at a certain time. And it's the same with electricity. I don't think Jamaicans really realize how many, rivers are in Jamaica. There's loads. I don't even think the government has charted all the rivers in Jamaica. Google doesn't even know. And we're going to go into that. So let's look at some of the things that's, affecting Jamaica right now in terms of water. Lack of water, because they're saying certain rivers are drying up and so on and so forth. This is crazy because this will affect, all the wildlife. So it's not just, animals, it's birds, it's fishes, it's everything. Obviously, it's going to affect agriculture. It's going to affect livestock farming as well. It's going to affect small and large businesses, obviously. And it's going to affect local as well as, national entities in terms of how they, pool this water or source this water. Now, Jamaica have enough water, I would estimate 10 times over, to supply every single person with water. I mean, the water in Jamaica is such that you could leave the water running, everybody, and the water shouldn't be running out, because the amount of streams and rivers and lakes and waterfalls and underground aquifers and underground streams and underground rivers is just crazy. And the amount of tributaries that sort of, spawns off from the main rivers, and we're going to get into that. So I don't understand at all how a situation like Jamaica have a situation with water crisis where, tanks has to be given out. Now, let me just jump over to my screen with you just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, because this is crazy, and sometimes seeing is believing, and a little bit of, bit of research bring things to light. So I'm going to share the screen over here with you. And this is Wikipedia, by the way. And as you can see on my Wikipedia screen, this is category of rivers in Jamaica. So you see it there big and bold. Yeah? Category rivers of Jamaica. Now, this doesn't even have all of them. Now, we're going to jump into this in a minute. But these are the main rivers that most people know about. And this is in alphabetical order. So you can see all the rivers beginning with A, Some of them you will know, some of them you won't know. And I'm talking to people who was born, grew and live in Jamaica and never left and still don't know every single river in Jamaica. No one person know every single river, but you will know a lot of them. You know, Back River, Black River, Broad River, Buff Bear River. I mean, the rivers are just crazy. And we're going to break down the different parishes that these rivers are in as well to show you. So with all these rivers, these are massive rivers. These are the big main rivers that everybody know about. And you can see the rivers in alphabetical order. You know, the Juan de Bolas River, you know, it's just crazy. You know, the Martha Bray River, and then you go back up again to continue. Milk River, most people know that. Montego Bay River, Morant River, Morgan's River, never heard of that one. Negro River, I think I've heard of that in St. Mary. There's another one in St. Thomas as well, so I don't know if it's on the border or it's just two rivers in two different parishes and they just decided to, you know, give it the name. New Savannah River, One Eye River, Aracabesa River, we heard of that one. Orange River, never heard of that. Outram River, never heard of that. You know, Plantain Garden River, and the list just goes on. Rio Biono River, Rio Cobre, you know, Rio, what's that? Doro River, Rio Grande, or Grande, or some people call it the River Grande, the Rio Grande or the Rio Grande, Rio Magno. You know, it's just rivers upon rivers upon rivers. You know, Salt River, some people know that. South Negril River, Spanish River, Stony River. It's just crazy. The rivers are just there. You know, Wag Water River, White River. Some people know that. YS River and Yalas River. So the rivers, these are just the rivers, okay, that I've gone through with you. Now let's just jump into the list of rivers of Jamaica, even though we've just gone through the categories of rivers. And these now we're going to list, as it says here. This is a list of oops, let me just do that again. This is a list of rivers of Jamaica arranged from west to east with respective tributaries indented under each larger streams named. And again, these rivers, all of these rivers are not even all the rivers. I'm going to even show you even more. So as you know, you got some of these rivers are unnamed. Like this river is unnamed, meaning they've located the river, but it doesn't have a name. Okay, you have Middle River. You know, some of these rivers we've seen before, but you can see there's lots of unnamed rivers here. Unnamed rivers. Then the Newfound River. We've heard of the Cane River, Fish River, which is a tributary. So on the Orange River, so basically 1, 2, 3 tributaries come off of this Orange River. And then off the Cave River, there's another tributary, which is the Fish River. So you can see the way this is indented, because remember it said up here, indented according to their respective tributaries. So the main river here, for instance, is Orange River. It's got an unnamed river that nobody knows the name of. It's yet to be named. The Newfound River, the Cave River, which is this one, which is a tributary of the Orange River. And then there's another tributary river which, you know, springs off of or spawn off of the Cave River. You understand? And then you got all these main rivers here that we talk about. Then the Rio Bueno River has a Cave River that's underground connection. See that? Because I did mention earlier about underground rivers. So there you are, Roaring River, Landovery River, Don River. I don't know if it's the same. Yeah, Don River Falls, Rio Nuevo, Aracabesa River. And then obviously you have, you know, this Wagwater River, and then you have the Flint River off of that. You know, and some rivers are on private properties as well. And we're going to do some discussion about that. So even the Rio Grande River, which is very famous, a lot of people know that one. The Black River is off of it. The Stony River is off of that. And the Guava River is off of that. I've never heard of the Guava River, but there you go. And that's what coast did we cover? That's the North Coast. All those rivers are the North Coast. Now we're going for the South Coast. You know, New Savannah River, you know, all these Ticket Rivers, and Morgan River, which is a tributary. And then the famous Black River, you have Broad River, Wyatt River, Smith River, One Eye River, which is another underground connection. And you got the Hector's River, which is another underground connection. See there? So I don't understand how this government, with all these rivers running throughout Jamaica, you know, they can't find a way to pump water to people in these respective places. Now, these are those rivers. Now, I'm going to bring up some other what they regard as hidden rivers. So let's bring those up. So here we are into this, you know, spreadsheet, this Excel spreadsheet that I quickly put together with some other list of, you know, rivers in their respective parishes. Now, I just wanted to say that these lists is, it's not necessarily that they're hidden or they're secret. It's just that they're not as well known. But some of them are well known, properties, for instance, like Rio Cobre. Obviously, a lot of people know, that sort of, that river. But I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just go through some of the ones that I feel worth mentioning. So obviously, as you can see, Cane River in Bull Bay, Falling Edge River, which is in Stony Hills, Penfield River is in Gordon Town, and there's an Orchid River also in Gordon Town. Now, alternatively, these rivers are known as Lions River, Fern Fever River, and Governor River. Now, whether these are alternative name to Orchid River, because sometimes local communities and other people give the same river different names, or these are actually different rivers within the same Gordon Town vicinity near to Orchid River, I stand corrected. People in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong there. Then you have the Hollywell River, which is obviously part of the Blue Mountain and Jankro Mountain National Park. So I've made a note highlighted there. That's an unnamed river in Maryland, not in America, obviously. And then you have the Rafjam BNB River in Irishtown, which is on private property. I'll come back and say something about that. And anybody else who is operating any tourist or any other type of business venture that's near to any natural sort of feature like a waterfall or a lagoon or a hole, a blue hole or something like that. Anyway, moving on, in St. Catherine you have Mount Kevin, you have the Rio Cobre River. As you know, the Rio Cobre River had a low flow of water, or low level water levels dropped in September 2019 and it recovered the following year. Now, whether this is accurate, I don't know. That's just the information I have. Someone can again, correct me in the comments if it took more than a year to recover or it took less than a year to recover. But in September 2019, there was a low flow recorded for the Rio Cobre River. Now, you got the Reggae River, Sun Hill River. What else? Then you have the Scatter River in Portland, which is in Barradale, which is connected to the Rio Grande. Some people say Rio Grande. I think the E silent, I say Rio Grande. Aluminum, vase, vase, who cares? Then you have the Marley River, which is alternatively known as Big Don. So you have the Fish Don, you have Big Don, of course you have Don's River Fall, and I think there's a Little Don as well. Then you have the Nanny River, obviously named after the hero Nanny. Marley River, I'm assuming, is named after Bob Marley's or his family or a family member. Millibang, Seston Springs, Dry River. Jamaican people, why? Oh, a river we can call Dry River. How come a river will be Dry River? None such river. No, this Dry River, the name more suitable would be the Somerset River, because that dried up in August 2019. This river dried up in August 2019. Now, just like the river I mentioned up here before, the Rio Cobre River, which had a low flow in 2019, it's strange that the Somerset River dried up in August 2019. Now, again, I don't know if these rivers had a low flow, or in the case of Somerset River, it dried up because of natural weather conditions. If that was the case, then you should see a gradual trickling down of low levels of water until it dry up, not just a sudden situation. If that happens, then that would indicate to me that they would creek the river or dam the river further upstream with no regard to the effects on wildlife and the environment and even communities downstream. And anybody who dam up river, that's illegal. That's another thing, and we get into that in a minute. Then you have the Taki River, another funny name. So you have the Dry River, None Such River, and then you have the Taki River. What, the River Taki? Then you have the Kwame River, African name, Johnny River, Stuart Mountain River. Now, we mentioned the Blue Hole River, then you have the Konoko River and so on. Laughing Water, that's another funny name. The River Low Laugh. Then Little Dons, which I've mentioned. So you have Big Don, Little Don, and Don, and all kind of Don. Now, Joe Hot Water River, I'm assuming this river is on private property as well. In St. James, you have the Kalichi River. Five Finger River, that's another funny river. The Five Fingers of Venom. Very good karate movie, actually. Roaring River. Now, I did see some videos recently about the Roaring River, where these water trucks were literally sucking water out of the roaring river and putting it into these water truck tanks. Now, I don't know if this water has been treated, but if you're pulling the water out of the river, it's surely not treated. I'm hoping that they're taking this water in a sanitized truck tank for a start, and not a sewage truck, to a treatment plant for the water to be treated. And then when the water is treated, you don't put it back in a contaminated tank. So in other words, if the tank is contaminated or it's not hygienically clean, and you pull the water out of the river, which is not fit for human consumption without boiling it or sterilizing the water in some way, and then you take it to a treatment plant to get the water treated for drinking purposes, and then you put it back in the dirty tank, or the tank that's not sterilized for transporting clean drinking water, then you've contaminated the water and you basically negated the efforts of treating the water in the first place. Because it's like boiling water and putting it back in a dirty cup for drink when it cool down. That don't make no sense. Anyway, then you have this St. Elizabeth River. And again, I just want to say one other thing. So, did I say St. Elizabeth River? I mean the Breadnought River and the Wise River. Wise River as well now. I want to say one more thing about the Roaring River. Again, when people are pulling water from these rivers, you know, it did cross my mind. Does these water truck drivers or water truck owners, do they have permits and license to pull water from these rivers? Because it's illegal to just, pull up with your truck and start draw water that you're going to sell back. That's commercial, that's industrial use. Now, you can use rivers and waterfalls and so on for, if you're going to use the water for domestic consumptions. In other words, for, if you're going to wash, clean, cook and so on, that's domestic use. But if you're going to use the water to build up hotels, build Airbnb, use the water to build other construction business for businesses like offices, whatever, anything, or to use the water to turn around and resell the water, well, not even resell the water, can you now buy it to resell it back? You're taking the water for free and you're going to sell it. All that is commercial. That's classed as commercial. You need a license or a permit to do that. And there should be stipulation as to the way in which you pull the water, what equipment, and the whole thing about how you pull that water, especially if you're going to distribute that water at some point to residents, to human beings. It has to be fit for consumption. But in Jamaica as well, with the corruption between the governments, that is a thing. And the reason why I'm putting these lists up here is not so that these people are going into Roaring River can say, there's a Benta River and Mayfield River and there's some other rivers in other areas where we can go. No, this is for the government to expose that successive government, both the JLP and the PNP, over the decades since my time, my parents' time, my grandparents' time, have failed miserably, to provide adequate, sustainable drinking water for the citizens of Jamaica. They failed to do that. And because they failed to do that, that's why I'm putting this up here. So no matter about drought and this lies, rubbish. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Because at the end of the day, Jamaica have so much river, the government don't even know all the rivers in Jamaica. Trust me. It doesn't matter how them long them make the list, them are going to miss some rivers. Google don't even know all the rivers. We can draw up the Google Maps right now, and there'll be rivers that we've gone through here and on Wikipedia that come up in the Google Maps and vice versa. So Jamaica, land of wood and water, really served the name, and for a country of land and wood and water with so much rivers, hundreds of rivers Jamaica is a tiny island on the map, So imagine somewhere so small with so much river, brother, per capita. That's a lot. I wonder where Jamaica stands per capita in terms of river, because there's massive continents and massive countries which I doubt have as much rivers as Jamaica have. And them not have the water shortage problem that Jamaica have. And not only that, Jamaica is an island, mountainous island, completely surrounded by water. And you might say, well, I see salt water. There's technology that you can turn salt water into drinking water. But let's scratch that and put that to the side. The fact that Jamaica is such a mountainous country is one of the reasons why there's so many rivers and underground springs and streams. Because anyone who do geography understand how the whole cycle of waterfall or the waterfall, the clouds rise, and then when the mountain, you know what I mean? Anyone who do geography understand that cycle. So no wonder Jamaica have so much rivers and stream and aquifers and all kind of different things. Yes, still people on a daily basis have a shortage of water. That's failure completely at the government to invest in proper infrastructure to transport water to people. In a 2024, everybody want to drive the latest BMW and the latest Mercedes and GLE. Everybody want to wear the latest Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Clarks. Everybody want to have the latest, Apple Mac and iPhone and all these bullshit, materialistic things you don't want to do. But you can't get the basic things like sustainable drinking water on a pipe and sustainable electricity in our house. Those two things are like lacking, and me not see nobody are marching at the street for that. But when that man get killed and them a block up the road, you understand? I lose half of Jamaican people sometimes. I mean, me identify, but brother, I lose half of them because I'm not fight for the right thing. I'm not fighting for the right thing. But anyway, let me just jump up to this because I want to shorten this segment here of the video. Now, I did say I was going to come back to this bit in terms of private property. This is related to whosoever around the place, a Raf Jam BNB in an Irish town, and anybody else in a Somerset who used to run that Somerset Falls, and anybody else like my man, Wimde, somewhere down here, so Joe Hot Water. I don't know if that's a private property. It sounds like it. Let me tell you something. If you have a legal land title for your property that you own and registered, if a river runs through your property, guess what? You don't own the river. Let me repeat that. If you own your property and a river runs through your property, you don't own the river. You own the property on either side of the river bank, but you don't own the river. So in other words, if a river comes from wherever it's coming from and it meanders through your property and exit your property and gone somewhere else in somebody else's property or wherever it gone, yeah? Let's for instance say I was on a bamboo raft and I was coming down the current of that river and I enter into your property via the river. Not via your land, via the river. Me in the middle of the river upon the raft, a sailor come down. Me can literally sail through your property and you can't stop me because you don't own the river. Your land title only own the land, you don't own the river. The river is owned by the government or the citizens of the country. The government don't even have jurisdiction to sell you the fragment of river that runs through your particular property. You can't chop it up like that and say, well, because if that was the case, you can imagine the problem that would cause. Because if me own the river upon my local property, then theoretically me can dam it up and then everybody downstream suffer. You understand? There's a situation in Africa where I think it was the River Nile, where the river runs through several different countries, sovereign countries. And one country wanted to make use of energy dams by damming up the river, and the country downline. So, well, if you do that, you're going to affect us down here, so which is downstream. Our country is downstream to the river. It go through your property, through your country, and then it come through our country, and then it go through some other country and go on. So, because you further upsource, if you dam up the river, can you want to make it into a energy source or electricity, that will affect us downstream. And then we're willing to go to war over that until them cancel it. I don't know what happened with that. But the point I'm trying to make to you, you can see the potential problems there. So this is why you can't own rivers, you can't own beaches, you can't own oceans and stuff like that. Those comes under the jurisdiction of the government. And when it comes under the jurisdiction of the government, it means the government don't own it. The government does have, depending on the government of the day, have jurisdiction over the administration and control and maintenance of that natural resource. But them can't sell it to a private entity, whether domestic or commercial. There's a lot of rivers that's even the ones I've just gone through with you, and you can go back and slow the video down or whatever. Some of the rivers that is named is not even showed up, doesn't even show up in any of the list of rivers that I've showed you on Wikipedia or in a spreadsheet. So it just goes to show you that with all these rivers in Jamaica, and let me bring the screen up, let's kill the screen saver. All these rivers in Jamaica and streams and underground rivers and some of them are secret rivers, secret locations where people don't want many people to know about it so they can enjoy it. And I understand that, but there's so many rivers. The government has failed. Successive governments, PNP and JLP, has failed to actually, have rivers where, you can adequately source water or pump water from these rivers into people's homes. Proper, piping irrigation system or whatever it want to be for farming as well. I'm not sure why Jamaica have such a water crisis, but if what I'm hearing about this news brewing, I wouldn't say scandal, but brewing situation between, companies that the government is trying to privatize water to this company. I think they're called Rio Cobre Water Limited and Vinci Construction, and basically they're going to privatize the water supply in Jamaica. And I just want to say this, in my opinion, certain things should never be privatized by any government, and that's electricity and water. Utility companies on a whole that service the public shouldn't be privatized, like buses, transportation like trains, electricity, water, things like that. I feel shouldn't be privatized, because once you privatize those type of utilities, what happens is private companies come in, and they only come in with one agenda: to make a profit. And in order for them to make the maximum amount of profit, or should I say maximize their profits, they're going to cut cost, which means they're going to cut corners. And the effect of that is you get high bills and poor service. And JPS is a prime example of that. If you was to go by the hundreds of thousands or millions of customers that are complaining. And what a lot of people don't realize is, even though the situation is going on with the Rio Cobre Water Limited that's supposedly going to be privatized, what people need to realize is, JPS is also privatized. I did a video on this. I think the government only owns something like 19% shares in JPS. JPS is owned by a Japanese company. The Japanese own JPS, and that's another thing. I did a video in it, and again, that video didn't get much views because, I just don't want to talk about politics. Sometimes I get fed up of talking about politicians, to be honest. It's not really my thing, but you can't escape politics. It affects your life. So you have to talk about, especially when corruption is going on. We hear all this stuff going on with the DPP as well, with Paul Llewellyn, and my God, I just have to laugh. I don't even want to get into that. I don't want to get sidetracked. This video is about water. But what I'm trying to say basically is, there's so many things going on in Jamaica all at once, simultaneously. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And I just want to make some points going forward in regards to my observations of, the water that's going on. Now, I don't see anyone demonstrating in Jamaica for the water shortage. No demonstration. I've seen a demonstration that's brewing about some Don that got killed and whatever. Roads are being blocked, fires are being lit. But these same people don't have water in their pipes, and they're struggling to get water, and they have to suffer with the water being cut off on a regular basis throughout the week. Yet still, there's no demonstration about that. I don't see any councillor or MP from the area being what I would call a vanguard in Parliament. So in other words, championing and fighting for this water shortage crisis to be solved, because all this situation with, water being, being trucked to people's residence, and them have to buy these tanks to fill up with water, stagnant water I might add, which is dangerous. So all those people, those big massive black tanks, you be very careful when you're using that water to cook with and to drink. I would advise you boil it first, because when the tank is brand new, sometimes this tank has to be treated first before you put water in it. So it's yet to be sort of deduced or verified if these tanks are being treated properly before you can put water in them. And if you put water in them, even though they're brand new, after a while, these tanks on the inside, because you can't see the inside of these tanks, like you can punch a hole in it and look in it and see it. And it's very difficult for you to climb up and look down in it. You're just going to see a reflection of yourself. You need to have a way to verify that there's no gangrene and moss, sort of growing and forming in the water, because that will happen wherever there's humidity and there's, lots of water. That's going to happen, especially stagnant water. It's not moving, it's not free flowing. So therefore, moss on the inside of the tank is going to build up. When water is free flowing with pipes, it's different because you have a pressure system and, the water flows. Okay, it stops for a while, but the water flows. But when you have a tank situation where water is setting, especially if the tank has never run dry, so the very bottom of the tank is going to have all kind of muck and nasty, yucky stuff at the bottom of that. And people are going to be using that water to drink and to cook with and to shower and bath with. So, people with even those black tanks that you see, these big, massive, literally permanent construction. I'm not sure if they design them with a way to do maintenance on them. But from what I've seen, they don't look as if they're designed for any maintenance to take place. It's just designed in a way where it does, the water does fill the tank up and nobody knows what's going on inside the tank. I suppose after a certain amount of a year or two, I'm not sure how long it lasts before they have to change the tank and buy a new one again, because it's all mossy and inside with all that green stuff. So that's that situation. I don't see the opposition suing the government for failing to provide clean drinking water. That's another observation, because water is not a luxury. It's a human right. It's a human right to have access to water. Okay? And if you don't have access to water, that's a humanitarian situation. You see countries in Africa who don't have water, how famine sets in. And you see the problem it causes. Disease break out. So this government is really, I'm not sure what's going on with them, bro. But in my opinion, I think there's a big lawsuit coming, and I think the opposition, is their job as the opposition to bring the government to task and to sue them for, failing to provide piped water to residents. I don't see any civil or criminal lawsuits for sewage trucks being used to transport water, because that's something that I've heard as well, that sewage trucks are being used to sewage trucks are being used to pipe water. Sorry, not pipe water, to transport water to residents. So let me get this right. You buy your brand new tank, them black plastic tanks that they buy. And that's another thing. Plastic in water, especially for a long period of time, is not a good mix. Bottled in glass is better than plastic bottle. This is why even the water that you buy in shops from plastic bottles, I've done the research. That's not a very good way to go. I mean, if they put water in, glass bottles, it will be better. Like when you used to have the old Pepsi and Coca-Cola bottles, that is better than putting it into plastic. And plus, plastic is not biodegradable. Glass is. So I'm not sure at what point, but I told you already, it's all to do with profiteering. When corporations have a way of moving away from less cost effective, you pay more and you get worse bang for your buck, basically. So that's that situation. If these sewage trucks are transporting water, did they clean out these sewage tanks? And no matter how them clean it out, if you know a sewage truck can deliver your water, for pump water in your black tank, the side of your house or on the top of your roof or whatever, you're not going to want that water. And you're going to have to pay for that. And then when you get sick, who you sue? Because if you try and sue the transport, the guy who drives the truck, he's going to say, well, I didn't fill it with water. I'm under construction to pick it up from you, so I'm only the driver. So I don't know. But I think drivers should be held responsible. The truck owners should be held responsible. And ultimately, the government and anybody who is in charge of, running these trucks or owning these trucks and getting the contracts to transport water to people in sewage, that's the worst. I keep telling you, they don't care about you. You think these Sewage trucks are going up in Beverly Hills, Jacks Hill, Stony Hill, Queen Hill, Red Hills. You think they're going up there with these sewage trucks to deliver water? You think they're going to Cherry Gardens and Norbrook and, Kirkland Heights and all these other places and truck water in a sewage truck? You think they're doing that? But everybody is like, why Jamaican people? You guys have lost the fight. You guys have lost the fight. There's no fight anymore in Jamaica that I see. So that's that situation. No reprimand at all for using those trucks. I don't hear anything from the environmental community either, or the ministry that controls the environment and all issues to do with the environment. Who is the government body that's in charge of the environment? This is an environmental disaster. How can it be? It's twofold. The first one is there's a disease looming because of the lack of water, and the fact that if water is lacking, then people can't drink water, then wildlife and other people, because you're saying there's a drought. There is no drought. There's so many rivers. Something more sinister is going on. Okay, and then obviously there's a situation of the sewage trucks that's transporting the water. So if people get sick, them can sue. It's that simple. A matter of fact, you don't have to get sick to sue. You can sue simply because your water has been delivered in a sewage truck. You understand me? If I buy, I don't know, let's say I order pizza from Pizza Hut and they're going to deliver it through, Uber Eats or whosoever is going to deliver it. But the truck that deliver my pizza is a flipping sewage truck that deliver it. I'm going to say, did you just pull up in that sewage truck to deliver my pizza? And if you say, yeah man, it's all right man, everything crisp man, it never in the back with the sewage in it, in the front. I say, brother, take that back, I don't want that. And then I sue Pizza Hut. Because say, the pools them I order and pay for. A sewage truck pull up on my gate for deliver my pizza, brother. Yeah. And in this case, it's worse because the water is in the back of the tank where the sewage used to be. I tell you, Jamaican people, you guys should be in the streets, blocking the streets. And here's another thing I'll say. And I'm not saying to be disorderly, peaceful demonstration. I don't believe in disorderly and anarchy. I'm not for that. But you do have the right as citizens to peaceful demonstration. Okay, yeah, that's your human right. You have a right to peaceful demonstration. Police are not allowed to bully you, to abuse you, to hit you, to shoot you, and all these things. That's against the rules. That's against the law. They can't do that. As long as you're not breaking any laws and you're not being antisocial and you're exercising your human right to demonstrate peacefully, the police can only be a look on. A matter of fact, you can invite the police to walk with you just to make sure, say, no troublemaker don't hijack a peaceful protest and turn it into some type of riot. Because that's something that can happen. We've seen it happen in Britain, we've seen it happen in America, where people organize peaceful protests and then either the government or somebody hire a few little troublemakers to mingle in the crowd and start some shit that kicks off. You understand me? And then they turn on and blame the demonstrating organizers or whatever of the ones for doing it. So there's that situation. So I don't hear anything from the environmental community or from the environmental department of Jamaica about this situation, especially when it comes to the sewage truck. And I'll keep going on about the sewage trucks, but it's so disgusting and appalling that I really have to harp on about it. Up till now, I don't hear Mark Golding say anything. Maybe he did make some speech and I haven't heard, but I think he was preoccupied with the DPP situation. But at the end of the day, you're the opposition. And as I said before, make no mistake, Mark Golding, when you get into power, don't feel say, oh, all these people that have been, calling out Andrew Holness and the JLP party is going to cozy up to you when you're going to get the CM treatment as you slip your slide. As I say, we don't support politicians, we don't support political parties. What we look at is how the country is run and how citizens are being treated. That's it. The opportunities that you afford them. I just want to have a few side notes. I did touch on one of them already, which is to do with, there could be an exponential breakout of diseases in Jamaica because of the water shortage. and the way the water is being transported in some of these sewage trucks. That's a law case. So even if them stop doing it now because it come out, it doesn't matter. It happened. If something has happened, even if it's years ago, look at some of these groups that's been wronged. It's happened over 100 years ago, and them say that take people got the Hague and I tried them for war crimes. And it happened 100 a year ago, 50 years ago. Even people from World War II, them say that draw them in the Hague and drag them up on war crimes. Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether you say, oh, well, shit, this thing come out, I could stop transport the water in the sewage truck then because the jig is up, the secret is out, they bust it out already. The fact of the matter is, you've transported that water already. It's happened. That's what you're going to get sued for. So I think that's something that citizens and the opposition alike need to look into. My observation of looking at a lot of stuff that's going on in Jamaica, I don't know if it's the food or the water or the air that Jamaicans are breathing, but it seemed like they've lost the fight for their own rights. Jamaica was known one time for the one little tiny island that will stand up for their rights, whether it's South Africa, whether it's this country, that country, anywhere in the world you go, there's one thing that we were known for is standing up for your rights. And we don't care how big you are, how bad you are, you know, Jamaica will let their voice be heard. And we're known for that. I think that's all I want to say for this video, to be honest. I think I'm going to end it here.